Nestled deep within the mountains of Eastern Europe, there lies a small, forgotten village called Duskmire. Isolated from the modern world, Duskmire is a place where time seems to stand still, and where ancient traditions and legends have been preserved for centuries. Among these legends, none is more feared and revered than the story of the Whispering Woods, a dense forest on the outskirts of the village, where the trees are said to talk and the spirits of the past roam freely. According to the village elders, the Whispering Woods have been cursed for as long as anyone can remember. It is said that hundreds of years ago, a group of settlers tried to clear the forest to make way for farmland. However, as soon as they began cutting down the trees, strange things started to happen. Tools would go missing, animals would refuse to enter the woods, and eerie, disembodied voices could be heard at night, whispering in a language no one could understand. Frightened, the settlers abandoned their efforts, and the forest was left to grow wild. But the voices did not stop. Over the years, many villagers reported hearing the whispers when they ventured too close to the woods. Some even claimed that the voices would call their names, luring them deeper into the forest, never to return. The legend of the Whispering Woods became a warning to all who lived in Duskmire: never enter the forest after dark, and never listen to the whispers. For decades, the legend remained just a story passed down from generation to generation. That is, until one cold autumn night, when something happened that would change the village forever. It began with a group of teenagers, eager to prove their bravery. They had grown up hearing the stories of the Whispering Woods and, like many young people, were skeptical. They decided to venture into the forest after dark, armed with flashlights and a video camera, determined to capture any strange occurrences on film. They joked and laughed as they entered the woods, the crunch of leaves underfoot the only sound breaking the eerie silence. As they ventured deeper, the mood shifted. The trees seemed to close in around them, and the air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding. Still, they pressed on, their flashlights casting long, wavering shadows. Then, they heard its whispers. At first, the sounds were faint, like the rustling of leaves in the wind. But as they continued, the whispers grew louder, clearer. The voices seemed to come from all around them, speaking in low, urgent tones. The teenagers, now visibly shaken, decided they had heard enough and turned back. But the path they had taken into the woods seemed to have disappeared. Panic set in as they realized they were lost. The whispers grew more insistent, and now they could hear their names being called. One of the teenagers, a girl named Lena, began to cry. The others tried to comfort her, but the fear was palpable. They started to run, desperate to find their way out, but the forest seemed to twist and turn in impossible ways, leading them deeper into its heart. Suddenly, the whisper stopped. The silence was deafening. The group huddled together, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. Then, without warning, the ground beneath them began to tremble. The trees swayed as if caught in a strong wind, but the air was still. And then, they saw a figure emerging from the shadows, tall and indistinct, with eyes that glowed like embers. The figure raised its hand, and the ground beneath the teenagers' feet split open, revealing a chasm that seemed to descend into darkness itself. The group screamed and scrambled to get away, but the forest seemed to conspire against them, roots and vines tangling around their legs, pulling them down. Just as it seemed they would be swallowed by the earth, the figure spoke. Its voice was deep and resonant, echoing through the trees. "You should not have come here," it said. "The Whispering Woods do not forget, and they do not forgive." With that, the figure vanished, and the ground closed up, leaving the teenagers lying on the forest floor, shaken but unharmed. The whispers had stopped, and the forest was still once more. Slowly, they found their way back to the village, where they collapsed in exhaustion, unable to speak of what they had seen. Days turned into weeks, and life in Duskmire returned to a semblance of normalcy. But the teenagers were never the same. They spoke little of what had happened, and some of them moved away from the village, unable to bear the memories. The legend of the Whispering Woods had become more than just a story. It was a reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved. The teenagers' experience in the Whispering Woods quickly became the talk of the village. The video footage they had taken was shaky and dark, but the audio captured the whispers, and the villagers could hear their names being called in the background. The elders of Duskmire declared the forest off limits, warning that the ancient spirits had been disturbed and that the village was in danger. To this day, the Whispering Woods remain untouched, a place of fear and reverence for the villagers of Duskmire. Those who dare to approach the forest say that the air is thick with whispers, and that if you listen closely, you can hear the voices of the past, warning you to stay away. The mystery of the Whispering Woods remains unsolved, a dark and eerie testament to the power of the unknown.